Hi everyone, here's the Book Chemist once again, and today I'm reviewing Kindred by Octavia Butler, an author I'd been meaning to read for years and years, and I'm so happy I finally managed. Kindred uses a very simple, very common science fiction trope, which is time travel, in an incredibly stimulating way, by transporting an interracial married couple from 1970s California back to the early 19th century pre-abolition southern United States. This very simple device allows the novel to talk about prejudice and oppression in a truly original way by throwing these modern characters into decidedly dark times. The novel never indulges in its depictions of violence, torture, and of course slavery, but it doesn't shy away from them either. And it is an incredibly disturbing novel, and much of its disturbing power comes precisely from how it collides two separate times, the modern contemporary world and this dark past, two separate times that in our minds we like to think of as very definitely separate from one another. But is this separation really solid and stable, or is it more of an illusion? One of the most disturbing things in a book that is broadly very disturbing is how easy it is for the protagonist to adapt to life in pre-abolition Maryland, to get used to slavery. This is especially true for Kevin, the protagonist's husband, who is white and who is able to play the role of the protagonist's master when they pretend that he is her white master. He's able to play that role very easily, and while he is repulsed by many of the things they encounter, he is also fascinated by this world and wants to explore it more. This worries Dana, the protagonist and narrator, and for good reason. One of their main concerns throughout the novel, I won't explain why, but one of their main concerns is getting stuck in this time that they've traveled to. And the reason why she's especially worried about Kevin getting stuck is that she knows that if he stays in this world, the world of slavery, the world where only white people are real people and black people are objects that you can own, if he stays there long enough, this world is inevitably going to change him. Even if he doesn't own slaves himself, he will have to still be a person living in a world where that is a possibility. He will have to put up with it in some way, unless he wants to be destroyed by this world. At times in the novel, Kevin's fascination for this horrible past is especially perceptible, and that's a very dangerous thing that people do even without traveling through time. People develop nostalgia for dark times because they come to appreciate certain aspects of these times selectively. We all do, we all remember the past as better than it actually was because we tend to remove the darker or the least pleasant aspects of it very often. But the dangers there are obvious. The danger of becoming nostalgic for times that should never really come back, or of starting to think that maybe the problems of the past weren't as big, weren't as monstrous as they were made up to be. In my home country, in Italy, it's a very common thing to complain about the fascist regime, about the 20 years of the fascist dictatorship, while also expressing some kind of misguided nostalgia for how things ran better, supposedly, under the fascist regime. In the United States, a very common attitude is this idea of claiming that while slavery was horrible, the slaves were actually, many slaves were happy in their chains because their needs were tended to and their lives had purpose. And the jump between Kevin's attitude of appreciation and these reasonings is not at all wide, and there is always an awareness in the novel that the danger of making that jump is always very clear for the character. The novel's final message is as powerful and as relevant as it is true. The fact that our past, the crimes committed by our ancestors, live on in us and never really leave us be. They continue to be felt in the present world in ways that are often surprising, but that have an immense physical and psychological impact on our lives and on our societies. I adored Kindred. It exploits its very simple premise in a variety of beautiful ways. I struggle to think of a book I've read in recent times, maybe the novels of Ursula Le Guin, where you both get to experience such an enthralling and an engrossing adventure, while also being stimulated by so many different reflections on a page-by-page level. I also thought that it used anticipation and foreshadowing in its prologue very beautifully. The prologue is confusing and compelling and disturbing, but it doesn't spoil any element of the novel. If anything, the more you read the novel, the more fascinating the prologue becomes, until it all eventually becomes clear in the novel's conclusion. And I couldn't recommend it more, and I absolutely look forward to reading more of Octavia Butler's fiction, possibly with Fledgling next, or one of the parables. I'm open to recommendations as always, and I look forward to hearing what you thought of Kindred. Let me know if you love the novel too. Let me know what your favorite Octavia Butler novel is, and thank you as always for watching the video. Thanks to my patrons for supporting the YouTube channel. They're awesome people, and bye everybody.